It's week number 1 of the Read What You Own challenge. How did I do? Hello, welcome to my channel. Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg. I have challenged myself to read 25,000 pages from books that I already own before buying another book. This will be probably the first of 25 updates. I have set myself a reading goal of 1,000 pages per week. That means it will take me 25 weeks to finish this challenge. I had originally thought of trying to do it in 20 weeks because in the previous 3 years, I've always finished this challenge in about 20 weeks. But going to the page count challenge means I have to read a little bit more than I have in the past. So I'm giving myself some extra time to finish it and making sure that this is a low stress event where I'm not struggling to read faster and faster just to get my challenge done. I want to enjoy those 25,000 pages that I am reading. So what did I read in the first week of this challenge? The first thing was the play The Seagull by Anton Chekhov. I am part of Chekhov Ember. This is a group on Voxer where all the month of November we'll be reading Chekhov plays or Chekhov short stories. And The Seagull was up first. If you want me to summarize the plot, I only have to point you to the song by J. Geil's band. And it goes something like this. You love her, but she loves him. And he loves somebody else. You just can't win. Love stinks. Okay, that's the essential bits of the plot. All sorts of characters falling in love with someone else they're not supposed to. Essentially, it's a good play, but I just really did not get into it that strongly. I have noticed as I've gotten older, I probably have aphantasia, which is basically I don't create mental images in my mind. So when I'm reading this play and there are a couple of characters interacting, I don't see those characters. I'm just taking in their words. I sort of have this blank screen in my mind or a very vague idea of where these characters are and what they're doing. I'm just taking in the words. So that probably diminished my enjoyment of this play a little bit. It's still a classic play. I told myself I may watch a stage production if I can find something on YouTube or Amazon Prime. I still have not gotten around to doing that. And to be honest, I probably won't. This play was 66 pages long. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman, Alexie. It was 230 pages long. I read this with the band book group over at the app Fable. Most people on this group have really liked this book. They say it's absolutely magnificent and terrific, that Alexie really captures the mind of a 14-year-old boy and brings his character, his woes and his ideas and his loves and his failures all to the page. Really well done. You even get some illustrations because the character in this book likes to draw. Because drawing is more truthful than words, because if you write a word on the page, you may not be able to understand it if you speak another language, but everyone can understand a drawing. I can sort of understand that. For me, the age demographic sort of put me off. Yes, I was once a 14-year-old boy, but that was a long time ago, and I've moved on from that stage in my life, and honestly, I have no desires to relive it. So for me, it was just a very distancing technique or a distancing genre to read young adult. I just don't get along with it. I also struggle with the reasons why this book was banned. Yes, there's some mild profanity. There's some talk of males playing with themselves and that sort of thing, but it's nothing you should be banned about. I think the true reason this book got banned is that Alexie is rather uncompromising in his description of racism and bigotry against the American Indians. And perhaps parents of white children don't want their children to see racism in the characters of this book. I may not be explaining that really well. Because in this book, there are some racist parents who are white, and he's obviously a very crude person described in this novel. And maybe people like him don't want their children to encounter people like themselves in the book in a negative light, because they don't want them to see themselves as negative people, as being racist people. They're just okay with being racist. That's why I think this book has been banned. I think if people who are more attuned to the young adult sentimentality will really enjoy this book. Kafka, a graphic novel, 176 pages long. It is translated from the Japanese. I am not going to try to pronounce the Japanese name because I would bungle it. So we'll just say it is translated from the Japanese. And this is essentially collections of Kafka's short stories. It starts off with The Metamorphosis. Now, Kafka originally, when he published The Metamorphosis, did not want Gregor Samsa illustrated. And the author of this book does that in this graphic novel, which means the main character in the story cannot be seen. You can only see other characters' reaction to what they are seeing in Gregor Samsa. I think that was a very inspired choice, in many ways kind of a risky choice, but it works. Now, the problem is that it works because I know the story of the Metamorphosis. But people coming to the Metamorphosis the first time, I think, will be a little confused by that story, not being able to see Kafka. I kind of liked it. There's some other short stories in here. It has some of his most famous. It has The Hunger Artist and In the Penal Colony, and some that I've not read, actually. So I did enjoy this book. I don't think it's going to be one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. But if you like Kafka, if you thought The Metamorphosis was a fantastic novella, I suggest trying to seek this out. I think for that reason alone, it's pretty good, but not great. The Cruel Redeemer, Lazarus Morell, by Jorge Luis Borges, translated from the Spanish. It is all of 6 pages long. It is the first short story in this collection. I assume it is one of his first published and written short stories. It is told in what becomes sort of a signature style of Borges. It is written like it's a piece of non-fiction, not a short story. And it tells the story of a man who comes to an untimely end. I will not rank it as one of my favorite Borges stories, but I am going to start reading this book again because I also bought the audio version of this book so I can listen to the story being read to me while reading the text. I think that is an excellent way to read some of Borges' short stories. Christine Falls by Benjamin Black, 417 pages long. Benjamin Black is the pen name of John Banville. Banville is a well-respected Irish literary novelist, but he wanted to branch out and start writing mystery stories. So he assumed the name of Benjamin Black. It was always known that Benjamin Black was John Banville, I'm pretty sure, because he just wanted to make sure that his readers knew that if you were picking up a Benjamin Black novel, you were picking up a mystery novel. You were not picking up a literary novel. I think that is sort of a nice distinction, just so Some of his readers may not be too upset because some people may not like mystery involved in their literature. However, his literary writing sort of still shines through in this book. It is the story of Quirk. He is a 40-something widowed pathologist. You know, the guys who investigate dead bodies. And a young woman has turned up in the morgue. There is a report written by a doctor saying how he thought she died. And Quirk is going, I don't believe this report. He also happens to know the doctor who wrote it. It is his father-in-law. So he goes to his father-in-law and starts questioning why he said this woman died of a coronary embolism. That's when your heart just failed. And he soon discovers that is not the true cause of her death. So his father-in-law is covering up a crime. And then he has to go to, I guess, his grandfather-in-law, who was a judge, and say, what the hell am I supposed to do? Good mystery story. When you get to the end of this mystery, I thought I had it settled, but I was off. He did pull a nice little twist that I did not see coming. So if you like well-written mystery stories, Christine Falls is an excellent choice. It is also the first in a series of, I believe, 8 or 9 books. I chose this for my in-person book group. My book group is mostly ladies. I am usually the only man. So we're going to have to see how well they take to this mystery and if they liked it as much as I did. Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, the graphic novel adaptation. Neither the author nor the illustrator are Russian, and they have done something very unique to this story. All the elements of the original Crime and Punishment are there. All the major scenes that you would expect to find in the novel are here, but they updated this to contemporary Russia. This was published in 2008, so the story takes place in the 2000s of Russia. What an interesting choice. But one of the problems with this interpretation is that you lose a little bit of the connectivity of the story. It shows all the proper scenes, but they don't always have enough context. Now, in here, you will see a horse being beaten to death. If you've read the novel, you know exactly what scene it is depicting. But it just sort of starts up in this graphic novel out of nowhere, and you have to stop and wonder, would someone who has not read the novel Crime and Punishment understand what is going on in the graphic novel version? I don't think so. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I think you need to read the novel first before you pick up the graphic novel, because this is a supplement. This is an idea to gel the story in your mind. Now, one day I am going to reread the novel of Crime and Punishment, but rereading this graphic novel, I think, will actually help me understand the novel better, because I'm going to get the story straight in my mind. When I've read the novel in the past, sometimes you get lost in the story, in Dostoevsky's denseness. And this can help solidify what is going on. It is a pretty good graphic novel, but still, you have to read the original novel first. I also listened to an audiobook. That does not count towards the Read What You Own challenge, because it's a library book. It is 4 Shots in the Night by Henry Hemming. I read it for Nonfiction November, but it also fits in for Dr. November because it is a story of espionage. It is a story of a man hired by the British to infiltrate the IRA during the times of the Troubles. And of course, if you were spying for Britain in the IRA, and you get caught. The price you pay is death. It is a very good work of journalism. It gets you to the idea of what it is really like to be a spy. This is not James Bond type of spies. These are ordinary men working undercover under dangerous situations. I really liked it. Okay, that was my reading week. How did I do? I finished 1,020 pages that count towards the Read What You Own challenge. Just a skosh over where I wanted to be, but I'm not satisfied with my reading week. It was a tough week to be an American. I learned a little bit about the inner soul of my country, and it was not a pleasant view. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.